Good morning, video journal. Today is, Thursday, February 13th, and feeling really good this morning. So, what I'm going to talk about today is something a little bit different. I am going to talk a little bit about sort of a negative pattern that I had in my life for a long time, and I didn't really understand where it was coming from, and just kind of how I broke it and what the benefits were, because it's a pretty big one. I mean, at least for me, it was. And what that is that, okay, so for a really long time in my life, I want to say from the ages of like, God, I don't know, maybe my late teens, early 20s, all the way up until my very late 30s and early 40s, I struggled with what I thought was like chronic depression. And, um, and it still might be. I mean, I think there's still an element of depression. When I say depression, I mean depression in the sense of something actually like neurologically and physically happening with me. However, I've come to find another big piece of it is something very, very different. If that other piece even exists at all, because I don't know, it might not. In any case, yeah, depression for a really, really long time, and the way that my depression had always shown up as a very, very very sleepy and lethargic depression. Like I could literally naturally sleep for all the way up to 16 to 18 hours out of every 24-hour period. I mean, it was crazy. No desire to do anything, no desire to go anywhere, no desire for life, no desire for people, just wanting to sleep. It was almost a form of escape. Like it just felt like a drug. It was just felt so good to just sleep, 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 sleep. So I could do that for like days on end, right? And it was really, it was depressing. It wasn't a good feeling. And it didn't feel good. I felt horrible, right? So that's kind of how it manifested for a number of years, just kind of off and on. And sometimes something would trigger it, sometimes nothing would. In any case, I definitely saw a lot of doctors. I got on a lot of different antidepressants. I mean, we're talking like just about every antidepressant there is. I was on them. I was on different combinations of them. I was on the highest milligram dosages. Nothing. I'm telling you, nothing even started to touch my depression other than an actual behavioral change, which is so, so, so hard. So that's kind of when God came into play. That's when there was prayer, and that's when God started to sort of direct me and help me around this. So the first thing that happened was that I knew that, well, first of all, I knew that exercise was the only thing. Exercise has been like the only thing that has ever even started to kind of lift me out of depression. But then again, it's like, if you're so depressed, how can you find the motivation to exercise, right? So, like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing? So I was really, really struggling with that. And so, what God kind of led me to start with was, rather than jumping right in and just saying, okay, I got to exercise, because it wasn't realistic. It wasn't going to happen. It just wasn't going to happen. So rather than start with that, we started, God started working me around making some behavioral shifts. And the first shift that I needed to make was around getting up in the morning, because I just wouldn't get up. I just would not get up. I would just sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep. It's like, okay, God, so how do I do this? How do I wake up? And it didn't matter if I'd set an alarm. Didn't matter. It did not matter. I would even set an alarm and I'd go and stick it on the other side of my room, thinking that me having to get up and walk to the other side of the room would be enough to wake me up. And it wouldn't. And so I was trying a lot of different things. I think I even signed up for this thing where, like, you could have like a phone call, somebody would call you. Nothing. It wasn't working. It wasn't working. It wasn't working. So this is what I did. This was so God inspired, because this is nothing that I would have just kind of come up with on my own. I started off with like, I think maybe 5. And then I went to 6, 7, 8. I think the magic number for me that I found that worked was around 10. 10 little mini digital battery operated alarm clocks. And I took those And I said, okay, so what time do I want to wake up? And what's realistic to start? I'm not trying to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, out the gate. But I figured, probably, what, 7. That's pretty realistic. Now I wake up at 6 a.m. 7 days a week, rain, shine, holiday, it doesn't matter, right? And I do that just with one alarm clock. But this is what it is. So I have like this plethora of alarm clocks, and I picked a time. I think it was maybe 7:30, something like that. So what I would do is I would set one of the alarm clocks for 7:30, and then the next alarm clock for 7:28, and then the next alarm clock for maybe 7:25, and the next one for 7:23, and the next one for 7:20. And long story short, I kind of backtracked and I did the 2, 3, 4, 5, even sometimes like a 6-minute interval between these alarm clocks, and I had a bunch of them. And then I took them and I hid them all over my house. All over my house in different little spots. I mean, spots where you could still hear them, but where they were nestled away enough that, like, to be kind of half asleep and fuzzy in the morning, you're going to have to go on a little bit of a scavenger hunt to find all of these alarm clocks and turn them off. And it worked. I mean, it just worked. It worked really good for me. And, maybe it kind of worked a little bit better for me because I do have a brain injury, so I would sort of forget where I put them in the first place. But even so, I feel like, had I not had a brain injury, you're so fuzzy and kind of tired in the mornings anyway that, I don't know, it's worth a shot. It really is. Because it helped me. It helped me. And by the time I got to the, maybe the 6th or 7th alarm clock, I was awake. And trust me, there were mornings when I was pissed. When I was I was pissed at myself. I was cussing myself out. Why am I doing this? This is stupid. I just want to go to sleep. This is crazy. By the time I'm getting up there, close to the 10th alarm clock, I'm awake. I'm ready to start my day. And so I'd always just be like, wow, this is working. And it really only takes, what do they say? Like, I think it's like 6 months. I think. Yeah, something like that. To really, get those neurons connecting to where you have a new habit. And so I haven't had any alarm clocks for like over 2 years. So in any case, that's my little tidbit for the day, and hopefully this was helpful. Okie dokie. All right. Bye-bye.